During this video, we're going to compare CV axles versus your traditional U-joint axles. Hey, welcome back to the channel. This week's video is going to be on the 96 Grand Cherokee. We're going to turn this daily Grand Cherokee into an off-roader. So there's a few items that we need to address. First, we got a broken front passenger axle on the Jeep. So we will address that, and I will give you my strong opinion why we're switching the U-joint style axle to the centrifugal, to the CV axles on this Jeep Grand Cherokee. We also have a lug nut that is stripped, and we can't remove the wheels on this Grand Cherokee, so we're going to address that issue too, because when we're out in the woods, we want to be able to throw a spare on the Jeep if we encounter any issues. Also, all four of these wheels leak. The aluminum wheels, and this Jeep, if you remember right, has been sitting for 6+ years, so a lot of corrosion on those wheels. All right, enough talking. Let's get this Jeep in the garage and do some wrenching. We got the Jeep in the garage. I was gonna start working on the front end because I can barely stand looking at this ugliness anymore. But my son found some free wheels and tires on the side of the road, and guess what? They fit on the Jeep. Check it out. There they are. There's some Chevy wheels from a front wheel drive. I'm guessing maybe like a Cobalt or like an Impala. But yeah, there they be. So now I'm thinking about switching the direction of the project, you know, maybe just for a couple days. So I'm thinking about putting all four of these wheels and tires on here, driving the Jeep and seeing what it looks like. What do you think? Okay, I'm doing it anyways. We got one issue though. We got that security lug or whatever those things are called that is stuck on the Jeep. I have tried to take that off in the past with no luck. So right now we're gonna weld this lug nut on there if we can get this wheel off. Well, that didn't work. The welds came right off the broken lug nut. Welds look good on here though. Let's try it again. Victory! Now let's put those Chevy wheels on this Jeep and see what it looks like.
Three days later.
Good. All right, first car wash in 6 years on the old ZJ. Come on, get that. It's living on there. This is living specimens. Meet me at the car wash. Well, it's time to remove the Chevy wheels. The rears really didn't pan out. They don't lock down to the hub. There's a little bit of space right there. Hard to see on TV, hard to see on camera. But yeah, they don't. The hub must be a little bit off on the rear. But the fronts, they're locked in. But I believe we could run these Chevy wheels with a little bit of a shim spacer in there. But ideally, the back spacing is wrong, which we already knew that, but look how far the wheels sit in. Well, here's the evidence. It was rubbing on the axle hub there, and the axle seat. So therefore, you know, a guy could probably grind down the wheel a little bit, or that axle. If you guys wanted to be a little crazy like me and run Chevy wheels on the Grand Cherokee. Well, we got the brakes off, and check out this axle. Missing the cap. I'm half tempted to weld that. Just out of curiosity to see if it actually hold up when we go off-roading. But we're not gonna. We're gonna remove it. We're gonna put those CV axles in. So let's see if we can get those 3 bolts off that wheel hub that are gonna be pretty rusty. Speaking of rust, look at this backing plate. That's all that's left of the backing plate. You know, it's supposed to sit here for dust. Pretty rusty and crusty. Now we only have 2 more to do. Wish us luck. Well, I guess before we do the other 2, we do have to try to get this 12 millimeter off this bolt, because I had to use the hammer to get that 12, because of course, you know, that was rusted out on a 13, so we went with the 12. We did it. We got the axle out of this rusty front end. And she's probably bad. This U-joint is clapped out as we showed you earlier, but now you can really see it. You know, I'll probably put a new U-joint in this eventually, and it'll be a spare. I run these axles in my other ZJ with bigger U-joints. But in this one, we're gonna show you why. In this Jeep, we're gonna run the CVs. And I'm gonna give you a little bit of comparison between these 2 axles. So let's go grab the spare axle with the CVs in it. Well, here we go. This is the axle from the Goldie project, and we are gonna pull the CVs from this axle and throw it in the $100 Jeep. Reason number 1 that we're installing CVs in this Jeep versus fixing the U-joint in it is because I feel like CVs are just a little bit stronger. And the proof is in the pudding, or in Goldie. That axle has been in Goldie for the last couple of years. I never broke a CV in that front axle. So therefore, let's pull this axle out and throw it in a $100 Jeep. After we put the axle in the Jeep, we'll go put some tow hooks on there. We'll put some wheels on there, and we'll put this Jeep and this CV axle to the test and see if we can bust one of these CV axles.
Yeah.
Is it? It's a Jeep. Well, this just became a 2-man job. So now that we have both of these axles out, you can see quite a bit of difference in the design of the 2 axles. These are more traditional. You'll see U-joints in a lot of 4x4 vehicles. And ideally, when you upgrade these U-joints in these axles, you can even weld tabs on these ears to make them stronger as well. The weakest link usually isn't the U-joint, then it becomes the axle on the end near the carrier. And for the CV axle, I feel like it's ironic that the number one axle in the four-wheel drive world is a CV axle. It's a RCV axle, and they're lifetime guaranteed. These CV axles are factory, not as strong, but the same concept. So that's why I feel like these CV joints get a bad rap. And we're gonna put this CV axle in the Jeep and put it to the test and see what happens. We already know the Ujoint failed. Now let's see if this CV axle fails out in the woods. Well, that's a wrap on this video. We didn't get as far as we wanted. We want to do a front bumper on this $100 Jeep, so we get some tow hooks on here, and the Jeep will look a little bit different the next time you see it, because we're gonna go put some different wheels and tires on this ZJ as well. If you like this project, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. You'll see future mods to this Jeep before we get it out on the trails. As always, thanks for watching, and until next time.